hereby call this meeting of the Londonderry Heritage Commission to order this 22nd day of September 2022. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our prior meeting. I was actually just looking those over. They look pretty good to me. Does anybody have any comments or changes?
Just since Sue is not here right now, and Councilor
There's
Butler's
Mr.
here,
Butler.
so I guess we can continue the meeting. No, we appoint Laura to vote for Sue until, let's say, Sue arrives.
Good
And
idea.
that'll give us full complement of 7 voting members.
Laura Shankman is going to vote in place of Sue Jodry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, minutes look good to me also. So, good job, Laura. I'll move that we accept the minutes of July 28th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, minutes are approved. Moving on to design review applications. First application is for design review of a site plan for the construction of a proposed 6,709 square foot water tank and associated site improvements, which includes a proposed 5,650 linear feet transmission water main beginning at the proposed water tank located at 7 Rear Gordon Drive, map 10, lot 142, and ending at the proposed booster station located at Michael's Way, Marketplace Drive, map 10, lot 41. 7 Rear Gordon Drive, map 10, lot 142, zoned AR1, Pennachuck East Utility, Inc., owner and applicant. This is continued from our July meeting.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm Trevor Yanda with Meridian Land Services, and this is Mark Fillion from Pennachuck Water.
Okay.
Just a brief overview of the project. So Laura, could you go to the tank site plan? So as the chairman mentioned, the water tank is located off Gordon Drive. It's a 90-foot diameter and roughly 35-foot high precast dome structure, centrally located on the lot. It's north of Spring Road, and it's kind of sandwiched between two wetland areas. So in regards to concern of the Heritage Commission, we've sent along some pictures of, and in lieu of renderings, the photographs on the second sheet that I sent you, Laura, as far as how the tank would look when it's constructed. I think, yeah, it's just below, I saw it. From a building color standpoint, Pennachuck is looking to do, muted earth tones in the tan or gray variety. As far as, so it's,
No, I'm getting to it.
it's in there. And then for the site itself, there's a gravel access drive from Gordon Drive, which goes around the tank. So the top 2 photos on this page are generally what the tank would look like once constructed. This one is a little bit larger than what we're proposing, Mark, right?
Yeah.
But the aesthetic element is, would be very, very similar to that. And that was
What's the capacity of the tank?
1.25 million gallons.
yeah. And the picture, the one in the top 2 pictures, I believe, is 1.5 million gallons in Mansfield, Massachusetts, I believe. And then just from a site layout standpoint, again, there's the tank, there's a gravel access drive that goes around the tank, and then there's a stormwater basin to the west on the left side of the tank. We are proposing some landscaping to the north of the tank to provide a year-round visual screen with some evergreen trees. To the north, it is fairly densely wooded, in between the tank site and the residential area there. But we wanted to ensure that there would be some measure of, softening and breaking up that visual for any of those residents. There's no major signage or lighting proposed as part of this. Any lights would be maybe a wall-mounted light above a door, but there's no poles or freestanding signs proposed. In terms of impact to historic properties or structures, we're not within the vicinity of any properties or structures for this project. The only potential impact that we saw was for the water line that's exiting the tank and crossing for the transmission main. There may be some disturbance to some of the stone walls along Spring Road, which could be rebuilt when the main is complete, as restored to original.
Be rebuilt similar to what is there and what
Correct.
currently
Yep.
exists.
Yep, definitely.
I'm sorry, rebuilt in place, or would you have to move it?
Once the water line's in place, it could be built right back over top of where it was.
It'd be rebuilt in place.
Yep. That's kind of the general gist of the tank aspect of it. Do you guys want to ask questions on the tank, or do you want us to go through and do the booster station as well?
We'll address the booster station separately.
Okay. That's kind of the gist of it. If you guys have any questions for us, we're happy to answer them. We appreciate the time.
So any particular color that you have settled on, or you're leaving it up to us to?
Yeah, and typically, when we have a choice, we keep it at kind of a natural, they're basically a concrete structure that's sprayed on concrete. We typically keep it at earth tone color, but we're open to suggestions, recommendations, anything in that line. Not that we don't care, but we're open to recommendations. But the picture there in I guess it'd be the top left corner, is typically about the color we do it when we pick a color for ourselves.
So it's like a natural cement color,
But they can make it any color. They can put a dye in it and when they do their final coat and pretty much make it any color, they want. I mean, there's a wide range of color. I shouldn't say any color,
Yep.
but there's a wide range of colors.
Yep. The other slide with some of the pictures, there's grays, it looks like some tans in there as well. But all fairly muted and not, popping, I guess.
And it kind of, I think what's going to work good is something that blends in, is not
Absolutely.
objectionable to the abutters.
Yep, agreed.
And that's why we've typically found those earth tone, neutral colors seem to blend in the best. We won't be putting any logos or signage or anything of that nature on it.
It'll just be plain, nondescript.
Yeah, pretty much like that one in that top left corner.
The entrance off of Gordon Drive, are there houses to either side?
So there's a spur that goes off of Gordon Drive.
Okay.
It's kind of identified as it's an unnamed way, and there is a house to either side of it. You can see that one, and then off to the left, you can't.
And that spur has been there for years. There used to be a station, this used to be a community system, and there was a station out there. That when it got interconnected, the station was no longer needed. There are a few wells out there still.
This isn't, I'm lost here. This isn't the property that abuts Woodmont, is it?
It is. Well-
Now, did you have wells on that property before, and is this the same plot that I'm thinking of?
This lot was in front of the town for a water tank a couple of years ago,
Okay.
so that might be what you're thinking. I have the map up here, if that's helpful for you.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is Gordon Drive here, and this is the unnamed way. And then if I move out a little bit, here's Pillsbury right here. Trolley Colleen, and then this is Woodmont.
Where's the cemetery?
Cemetery is right off Hovey Road.
They're right by the
So that's,
RD.
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
you're talking the site where there's a dish up there?
There is I think there's
Communications disc?
yeah, I think the abutting lot to the east. I don't know if it's directly
And you had
abutting.
wells up there before, if I remember, or someone did,
On our parcel,
on your
yes.
parcel.
Yes.
I think a long time ago, I think several prior cable companies had their dishes up there and everything.
Yeah.
And they
But that's not
relocated.
on Pennachuck property.
No,
those
no,
dishes.
but it was up off of Spring Road.
Yeah, I know it is now, okay.
I remember there'd be occasional complaints about travel on Spring Road, but it was, the cable outfit servicing their equipment.
Dishes. And whereabouts on that property will that tank rest, roughly?
It's,
Okay.
yeah, essentially right,
About there.
right where the cursor is, yeah.
Okay, so it's more to the Woodmont side.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
I'm looking at the satellite view right now, and it's pretty heavily wooded in that area, so I'm assuming you guys are gonna leave most of that coverage with the exception of where you have to remove for the driveway and to obviously level the area to put the
Yes.
structure.
Yeah, we're gonna leave as many trees as we physically can.
Other than the water tank, is there a structure up there also for housing equipment or whatever? So it's just the tank itself?
Just the
Yep.
tank.
So what is the sight line on this from Gordon Drive? Will this tank be visible from Gordon? With the trees you're leaving behind?
Probably somewhat, yes, and then I think it's gonna be a lot of a function of the vegetation and the foliage. So it's really kind of difficult to say for certain, but I would think it would, at times of year, it may be visible.
Yeah, when the leaves fall.
And has there been any conversation with the abutters about that?
Not yet specifically about this, no. That's something, eventually we'll be going to planning board and
Yeah.
it'll evolve into that.
And the abutters have received notification already that it's in design review.
Yeah, the first question from the planning board is, have you talked to your butters?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, we're well aware of that.
Yeah.
And on that road that leads up to the tank, is that gonna be gated off?
The spur there,
No, well,
Anywhere along the access
Yeah.
road, is it gonna be gated so
Is it gonna
that
be
public
gated
can't
off?
access?
we have a.
Yeah,
fence
we have a fence around the whole property that
I'm
would
talking
be,
about
that would-
up near Gordon Drive.
No,
It's not gonna be gated?
we don't have any gating
not that far up. It's really once the
on our property.
yeah. Yep.
And it's the site plan does show that,
Yeah.
the fence.
I think if you zoom in even on that sheet, there, where the access drive, would veer to the left if you're walking into the site. Right? So, you move your cursor down and it goes left, or, sorry, other way. Basically, at the edge of the wetland buffer area, there's a fence line that is a gate, essentially, that ties in, and you can see the fence that goes around the property
Right here.
there. Yeah,
Fence would be
right,
like
yeah.
here.
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
The only reason why I say that is, I wouldn't be surprised if the abutters don't say something about that, having kids get up in there and park and.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, that's,
Do the kid stuff.
Carry on.
Yeah.
yeah, that road's been, open for
Yeah.
many, many years.
So the road itself is blacktop, but when it hits a section off the spur, it'll go gravel?
Yep,
And that's new gravel that you'd be putting in, or there's something there already?
it would be new. I mean,
Yeah,
there's,
There's kind of a woods road, I guess, there, but
yeah. it's nothing substantial.
Yeah, it's nothing you'd wanna
that we
travel
would
over.
need, yeah.
Landscaping, you adding anything to vegetation that's there?
So Laura, if you go, are you on the landscaping? So we're proposing some evergreen trees. We have them, Norway spruces, but to the north of the tank. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
those clusters of trees there. You know, that's what we are proposing, and we are in the process of revising some of the plans. We've received, you know, DRC comments from the third party, and they wanted to see a little bit more, you know, natural placement instead of in a, you know, uniform row, have kind of informal drifts and groups of trees. But there's still our intent to kind of restore that area there after the construction's complete.
So your cut line is gonna be that black,
Yes. And that's more required to get equipment in and out and staging and all of that.
gotta go that far back, cut that far back, huh?
Yeah.
So we have gravel around the tank, and then what's just beyond the gravel?
It would just be loam and seed, you know, restored to a grassed or, you know, vegetated area.
So you really think you have to cut it that far back, huh?
Yeah, we had talked with the people who are designing the tank and the construction needs for getting the equipment in there and having room to, you know, not
Yeah,
only
I
maneuver, but, and that's what, you know, that's what's gonna be cleared, so that's what we were gonna show, so.
So let's see, you're saying 4 Norwood spruce? Am I reading that right?
Yep, Norway spruce, yep.
No way. What's the length? What's the, I mean, it's, and they're what? 2.5 to 3-inch calibers
They're small trees
Yeah.
that would obviously, you know,
on a big space like
grow
that?
over time, but.
It's not gonna look very sparse.
Well, thinking about what their mature size, what they're gonna end up being, that's what we're showing on the plan is their mature size. So they can all grow appropriately and fill in.
Yeah, but what happens prior to the mature size? I mean, it takes years for those to mature out.
Agreed.
So do we have something that'll supplement that screening for the neighbors?
I mean, that's not the only thing that's providing the screen. I mean, the natural vegetation that's there is fairly substantial.
It's heavily wooded and.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you're telling me you're cutting it back.
Oh, yes, yeah, no, but
So
I'm
if you're
in
cutting
between,
it back, you're cutting the I assume you gotta clear cut that for the construction.
yeah, in that area it will be, but between there, that wood
mean,
line
we've
and
got-
the back line, it's fully
it?
wooded, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can look right on Google Earth and see that it's,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's
Yep.
pretty thick in there.
Yeah.
I mean, between our clear line and our property line is, I think it's over 100 feet. It's probably about 100 feet, you know, at that, I don't want to call it the midpoint, but just before the corner, where it veers off. So right where the trees are starting at that corner there, it's, you know, 90 to 100 feet to our property line, and then there's an additional, you know, buffer to that particular abutter, which is obviously the most directly affected and closest.
You may want to use that aerial and overlay the clear cut. on it. So I understand it, but some people that aren't used to that,
Yeah,
they won't be able to really see the.
connect the
impact.
visual dots
Right,
and,
so
yeah,
it may be advantageous for you to take that photo and overlay the clear cut line so people can see it.
yep, understood, appreciate it.
Any other questions or concerns from commissioners?
No, have I? Excuse me.
Okay.
I guess the only thing that I'd have is, not a great fan of loam and seed, to be honest with you. There are some nice alternatives out there now, creeping thyme or something like that. That might even cut down on your maintenance of it, your mowing and all that kind of stuff, and also is a better pollinator source for insects, et cetera. So, maybe you give that some thought.
Yep, I know we have used seed mixes in the past that are like a wildflower
Oh, yeah.
conservation mix. So that could definitely be incorporated to make that a little more wildlife friendly and all of that.
Okay.
Are there any other questions, I guess, as far as that one's concerned?
Seems like we're good.
Do you have a recommendation on the color? I know there was a discussion.
I think the earth tone, the normal cement color, is probably,
Yeah,
fine with me.
especially,
Because it'll be a brownish gray, so,
which will blend in well, not so much with the green, but when it's green, you won't see it, so
Right.
it'll blend in well when the trees are bare.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Your tanks up, behind Vista Ridge, are those yours?
Excuse me?
Are the tanks behind Vista Ridge yours? Or are those
Familiar with that area,
Manchester's?
to be honest with
I think it's
you.
Manchester Waterworks.
Is that
up there.
Manchester?
Yeah, up the end of Noyes Drive.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've never heard that, so I'm gonna say no, but
Okay.
I'm sorry, is there any exterior lighting? Did I miss that?
Yeah, they mentioned that earlier. So there's no exterior lighting with the exception of potentially a wall pack above a door or something. But no
this way.
poles, yeah.
Yeah.
You have any type of light for aircraft on the top of it at all, or?
I don't believe on this height we do. I know the prior submission, which was significantly taller, we did, but
Yep.
I know Underwood has did all the design for the tank on this, and I don't believe there is for this, because it's below 35 feet.
Okay, I've made some notes for consideration of like a conservation seed mix for grass areas and earth tones for material color, which you had mentioned anyway. Otherwise, I would say we can accept as submitted. Okay. So now we'll move on to the design review for the 1,200 square foot booster station and associated site improvements, including a proposed 5,650 linear foot transmission water main beginning at proposed water tank and ending at the proposed booster station, which will be at Michael's Way, Marketplace Drive, map 10, lot 41, zoned Woodmont Commons PUD, Pennachuck East Utility, Inc., applicant, and Pillsbury Realty Development LLC owner, also continued from the July meeting.
Awesome. So just the general site layout, Laura, could you go to just the site plan sheet that shows the plan layout? Again, it's a 30 by 40 building with an associated paved access way that would come off of Michael's Way. And there would be a generator that's to the north of the building that would sit on a concrete pad. And the building itself is proposed to be essentially kind of sunk into the bank off of Michael's Way. So we have it essentially buried 4 feet below grade, and then we have some evergreen, again, screening to kind of soften the visual appearance there. And yeah, and then if you could go to the color renderings for that. I believe the colors were like a muted, like a tan, a tannish hue, once we get to it. And I believe for material, it's just vinyl siding or,
Correct.
right? Yeah. If we get to it. Again, no major signage or lighting proposed as part of this. And we're within the Woodmont PUD, so as far as effects on any existing historic properties or structures, we don't feel that.
Yeah, that would come under the, because of the master plan for the PUD.
Yeah. Again, that's the gist of that site.
Trying to find those.
I know.
pictures, but I'm not.
So
Lots of pages.
is this kind of where there's already a little offshoot from Michael's Way? I see it's across from Marketplace Drive. There's kind of, you can see that there's already some little gravel paths and stuff over there. Is that kind of the general area?
It's, so if you're going north on Michael's Way, there's the big stormwater pond on your left.
Yeah.
It's just before that,
Yeah,
on the
okay.
left, yeah.
It's like.
I think right now, there's some existing utilities
Yeah, there is.
that are,
Yeah.
there's a meter sensing pit and a hydrant or two.
Yep.
So that's right where the drive would be.
Okay.
We're not gonna have any problems with conservation or any buffers. 'Cause that's pretty close to the wetland, isn't it?
We've been before them to
Oh,
discuss it, and they've given us their input on it, and we're working to kind of meet in the middle with them, because this is the ideal location for this particular structure. Yeah, muted tan color and then a grayish roof, and then screening along the roadside to screen the generator. And then I know the rendering doesn't show the arborvitae's along the face of the building, but I think we will have some kind of clusters along the building as well. And there is some existing landscaping along Michael's Way.
Yes, yeah,
As well.
and I think our concern is that it fits in there, it blends in. That's-
Excuse me, Laura, is there some way you can show how exactly the path that the water main is going to take? Like, because there'll be some ground disturbance?
Let's see. You can pull up the map, and I can leave that for Trevor to kind of, if you want to direct me where to go from here.
So
This is
you just want to know
Gordon Drive.
where the main itself is going to go.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
trying to put the two
So
maps together.
from the booster station, if you go down a little bit, Laura, so we can see the bottom of the pond. They're interconnected, but, so our booster station is down there. And I believe the main is gonna run behind the pond.
Closer to the wetland side?
Yeah, there's actually
Yeah.
a proposed pedestrian path as part of
Yes.
the Woodmont Commons.
So it's gonna follow
It's gonna
that.
go right under the pedestrian path.
Yep, and then it gets up to Pillsbury, and I believe it's gonna take a hard left before crossing. And then once we get to the orchard property, it's gonna follow the property line, and I believe the property line. Yeah. So it's gonna be, give or take, 50 feet minimum off the property line,
One I
essentially.
did want to note, and we're working with John Trotter right now, the town of Londonderry is putting a sewer lift state right there, yep. And so we're gonna
It's gonna
wrap
go
our
around.
water main around their sewer easement, their sewer.
And then,
parcel.
yeah, and then for all intents and purposes, the main basically parallels the property line, all intents and purposes. There are some existing wetlands on site that we have discussed with the Conservation Commission as far as minimizing buffer impacts and things of that nature. So it's not a straight shot per se, but
And we're also, the two wetland crossings, we're directionally drilling underneath, so we're not impacting the wetlands with the water main construction.
yeah. And then once it gets to the top, where Spring Road is, it's gonna cross over and then tie into the tank on the site.
You're gonna drill underneath Pillsbury Road?
We're not sure, we're talking to John Trotter right now about that.
Yep.
And what's gonna happen with that road.
Okay.
That's one of the options,
Okay.
and I told John that.
Thank you.
Somebody may have already asked this while I was looking at the map, but the screening for the building off of Michael's Way, is there gonna be a good amount? I can see kind of that, it looks like you guys are putting a row of trees in there.
Yes. So on the site plan itself, we're gonna have kind of, again, one of the comments we got from DRC from the third party was, informal drifts and clumps of trees as opposed to just a row along the face of the building. So we're working to revise it, but yes, there will be plantings along the whole face of the structure. And trying to incorporate some of the existing trees that are there.
So how high is that roof gonna be off the road bed? People driving by. Oh, I see, yeah, okay.
I don't know what the peak
Just
of the
curious.
roof
Don't
is.
have any- Might be able to get a better feel for it looking at that.
Is there an elevation?
Yeah. the one-
Yeah.
where you-
Checking that out.
Yeah.
Michael's Way
So that's kind of sort of where that blue car is parked,
there.
Yeah.
Got it.
and then to the right would be the pedestrian path.
You wanna dress it up for us? Put a cupola and a weather vane on top of it? Break up that roof line?
Is there
That's so,
Yeah.
any signage related to this building?
No,
Nope.
no signage. We'll have lights above the access doors, but we're keeping lighting to the minimum also outside.
Yeah, I think there's a section of the PUD master plan, there's different lighting fixtures that are used. It's exclusive to Woodmont.
The PUD.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're also obviously working with the Woodmont folks.
Looks like the side facing Michael's Way is actually sunk in, and there's a retaining wall built in there.
Yes.
So it's actually dropped down to, based on the rendering, it looks like the height of a person. So,
Yeah, more or less. I don't know exactly how high the ceiling is, but we sunk it essentially 4 feet into the embankment there. One, to make grading and disturbance easier, but also to mitigate kind of that visual, effect of, driving by or walking, what have you.
it says you're gonna plant arborvitae there for kind of the shrubs there to screen. Are those gonna be mature, or are they gonna be kind of young when you plant them?
So, I think typically from the nursery, I think you can get them 5 to 6 feet
Yeah.
high, like fairly mature, and I've got some of them in my yard that are, a couple feet, but I think we would try and get ones that are a little bit further along,
Sure, sure.
there.
Okay.
You're leaving the natural vegetation there that's on the west side, stays there?
So you're talking like the other side of the driveway, essentially?
Yes,
where-
opposite from, Michael's Way.
Yep, so that would be, again, reseeded potentially with a conservation type mix to restore the vegetation. There will need to be a little bit of clearing just so that we can get the access way in there and tie off the grades. But anything that's disturbed will be, revegetated.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. I only made one note, which was just mature arborvitae for screening. I would like to see them rather large, as large as you can get them from the nursery, just so that they're not sparse and taking 10
Yep.
years to fill in.
Yep.
Other than that, I'll accept. Go ahead.
Sounds like they're willing to look at a conservation mix there too, instead of loam and seed.
Yeah,
I
but
guess
the,
one would probably be this, I would guess, a seed that they've typically already used in that area.
That was gonna be kind of my comment on that, was just
Yeah.
that I like the idea of the conservation mix, except that if they've already planned for a specific type of seed for the rest of the area, then it,
Right. And we can
Makes sense.
discuss
Whatever,
with,
whatever they approved and want to do in that.
Yeah,
area,
have to-
we're fine with. We
Yeah.
just- We don't want to be mixing.
right,
right.
yeah.
Who would be, who would know that? Who would know what mix they're planning to use over there? That's a
we can-
planning function?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can check what's already approved as part of the site plan.
Okay.
yeah, yes, yeah, we can find out anyway. There's gonna be the coordination.
It's written down somewhere.
Yeah.
We've been dealing with Jeff Cavan from TF Moran, who knows that, and I'm sure
Yes.
he'll also know that.
Okay. Other than those two notes, accepted as submitted. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Appreciate
Thank you
the
for your
time.
time. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Next item on the agenda is staff reports.
Just moving down. The first thing is we have an application for a condominium conversion at 9 Button Drive, map 7, lot 13222, zoned AR1, Brenda Kiss and Doreen Fougere. Owners and applicant, this is just simply a change in the form of ownership. It's an existing duplex that is being changed into a condominium.
Okay.
So technically, it's a subdivision.
Seems cut and dry to me.
Yeah, they usually are. It's the legal ramifications that our town attorney takes care of.
And you can see it right here. It's just an existing two-story duplex that will now become a condominium.
Okay. Accepted as submitted.
The
Okay.
The next item is a rezoning request by Gizmo Enterprises LLC, applicant and state of New Hampshire owner to rezone a portion of 0RR Rockingham Road, otherwise known as the Londonderry Rail Trail, map 13, lot 143, zoned AR1, located to the east of 4 Commercial Lane, map 13, lot 104-2, 2 Commercial 2. I'll just pull it up here so you can see that better. So here's the rail trail here, and this is a rezoning request. I'm just bringing it to the board's attention. And what happened is there's an encroachment issue here by these folks into
Yeah.
the rail trail.
Yeah,
A option that they are pursuing is to rezone, this is AR1. They want to rezone this to commercial so that they can then try to attempt to utilize the back portion where they are currently encroaching. So that will go in front of the planning board, who will make a recommendation, and then it will go to the town council.
Those are concrete bays that
Yeah.
they've built back there?
Yes,
And they're right on top of the trail.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
Yeah, I
I
don't like
wouldn't
it.
allow it.
I don't like it either.
When was the site plan done? I think it was quite a while back, wasn't it?
but
I mean, when
that
I
this was
say
submitted, the rezoning application, or,
Yeah. it's
Oh,
like-
okay,
I
there,
walked that section of
So
trail. You
this
can
is,
definitely see
um,
it out there.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the fact
next to
pattern
the
is
trail.
that the folks at For Commercial became subject of an enforcement because they are encroaching into the rail trail. So in order to, a possible solution that they're pursuing is to try to rezone a portion of the rail trail.
oh, okay.
I'm not in favor of that at all.
I'm not either. That's ultimately gonna be a planning board
And
call,
it is, so
correct?
it's basically,
Yeah,
there's
it's-
no authority for the Heritage Commission, it's just when we have applications in, I just want to bring it to your attention, so in case you hear about it, at least you know that it's there. So the proper place to comment on that would be at the planning board or at the town council.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything on it because I have to render a decision there. We have dealt with other encroachment issues that code enforcement has picked up, so.
It's just, right now, for informational, as a staff report item to make the commission aware.
Okay.
But where Heritage sort of gets involved in the appearance and view of some of these kinds of things, would it be appropriate for us, because most of us won't be at that planning board meeting, I'm sorry, or, okay?
I was looking forward to this.
Would it be appropriate for us to make a comment?
If you want to, but if I can just explain the process, if that rezoning was granted, then what would happen would be these folks at For Commercial would have to put forward a site plan, which has a ton of difficulties in and of itself, and at that point in time, that site plan would come to
Before the
you
Heritage Commission.
for landscaping, but if the commission wants to put something forward for the planning board, I don't see why. that would be an
Without
issue.
prejudicing what the chairman of the planning board is gonna do, I'm sensing that there's a sentiment on Heritage to maybe forewarn this applicant that this isn't likely gonna be looked on favorably by the Heritage Commission.
I can make that known to the planning board.
That was well stated.
Yeah, I like that. There is not a comment sheet for this one.
I
so
can make that
can just
comment,
be-
no.
Okay.
It
awesome.
it could be in the minutes also, but,
Right.
so that is an official record of it.
I would think that company, there have been two companies in there, if I remember correctly. I would think that company knew about that, my opinion, knew about that problem when they bought it.
So I don't know how much this is gonna affect this, but this rezoning request was made by Gizmo Enterprises LLC applicant and State of New Hampshire owner.
State of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah, they own the
So-
the rail right away.
Yeah. So,
Well, the request is being made by Gizmo Enterprises, but the
Okay.
owner of the rail trail is the state of New Hampshire.
oh, okay.
I
All
just
right.
want to make that clear.
Sorry,
The
it
state
made
of
it
New-
sound like State of New Hampshire on that
No,
property.
the state of New Hampshire owns the rail trail, but this right here is owned by Gizmo
That's owned by
Enterprises. So
Gizmo,
Gizmo
gotcha.
Enterprises
Okay.
they received permission from the state of New Hampshire or authorization from the state of New Hampshire to submit a rezoning application.
So I want to ask you a question, regardless of the outcome here, can the great state of New Hampshire override it?
It's kind of what
If
it
they
was.
own the bed,
The state of New Hampshire has indicated that if they want Gizmo Enterprises to abide by all regulations through the town of Londonderry.
oh, okay.
Yeah, the state always will
Oh, I'm
defer
just
to
curious,
the
that's
local.
Hate to do all this work and then the state,
Just says, yeah, well, it's fine.
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, well, at least in the naming of the old Rum Trail, they listened to the,
Yes, they did.
the local,
That was-
that's only the DOT, so. it's-
Right, Ann?
Well, I was at the meeting and I saw some of their stuff, some of their big maps were changed and some weren't, so I take that as a good sign.
Okay.
Going in the right direction.
I'm working on it. Good.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. And the next item is, and for those who are wondering, that rezoning application is scheduled for a public hearing October 5th. The next item for staff reports is an application for design review of a subdivision plan to divide one lot into two, that's 190 Litchfield Road, map 14, lot 6, zoned AR1, Diane and Martin Boucher, owner and applicants, and that is right here. So you have an existing lot of 2.93 acres, and they're just taking that whole lot, and this will be the new lot line, and they're dividing it into two, so you'll have 1.32 acres where the existing house is, and then 1.61 acres here. Again, there's no rock walls or anything on this property. This is pretty much a straightforward subdivision.
You know, one of the things that we're seeing is that individuals that are selling their property, they might have 5, 6, 10 acres. And their retirement age, they're gonna move somewhere else, so they sell the property subdivided. And it gives them a good, I mean, it's an investment for them, so it gives them money. But then, I mean, for us, it creates more houses, so. And it's happening, so.
Right.
So a lot of our nice views that, from some of these, 8, 10 lot, houses, acre houses, it's kind of disappearing.
Do we have a cap on what size property can be subdivided?
No, as long as they can get the 1 acre out of it, there's no, or approximately, because it has to follow we have a soil study also, and the slope, and that affects, if the ground doesn't perk too well, they might take up to 20 acres to get a septic in there, so it varies.
Okay. Any comments or questions on this one? Okay, accept it as submitted.
And the last item under staff report is application for design review of a subdivision plan to subdivide one residential lot into 3, 86 High Range Road, map 6, lot 106, zoned AR1, Belize Real Estate Holding LLC, owner and applicant. This was before the board. And this is the property that had the cellar holes on it, that was in front of you twice, I believe. The applicant has made an adjustment to the plan. Instead of having one lot into two, they're now doing one lot into 3. So that changes the layout. So you have this 1, 2, and now they've left this for 3.
Cellar holes are on what's
We're
gonna
over
be the
here.
middle? Oh, it's.
Yeah, like one right
over.
here and one back in this area.
Okay.
With this, there will be the potential for the stone walls here, and we did comment last time about reusing stone walls if they're disturbed. But I just wanted to bring this to the board's attention again, because it was now going from 1 lot to 2, now 1 lot to 3 lots.
Okay, is there going to be anything on the subdivision plan alluding to the ability of the town to, like, research anything historic, like those foundations?
We did have a comment last time, because you have that comment sheet in front of you, that we have asked the owner to allow, I believe it was Ann and some other folks, to have the ability to go in there and do some more research when
Yep.
the weather was more, and the ground was more conducive to that.
Yeah, commission recommends the owner applicant allow access to document cellar holes, is the note that was made, so yeah. Looks like that's covered. as well as stone walls will be replaced as disturbed.
And again, there's nothing that the town can do to force, that's a
Enforce that,
recommendation
yeah.
for them to go on the property and document that.
Yeah, usually most landowners are amenable to things like that.
Especially knowing going in that they're purchasing a property with historic value.
Yeah, it'd be a little nice to set that area aside, but we can't do that, so.
And I believe there's already been contact made between the owner and the folks who want to go on the property to take a peek at that.
I think
Okay.
Ian had a question.
I just want to understand that you're saying we can document the cellar holes and the stone walls. Because there are rock walls right in, within that area where the cellar hole is, in that top piece of property. We're not saying they have to say them, but we want to document exactly where they are in there.
We can add that.
You can add
Right,
that.
right now, it's only specifying cellar holes. I'm just gonna add as well as rock walls. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right. All right, moving on to other business. We have Apple Way follow-up discussion.
This is just following up on a lot of work that David Ellis has done as far as updating our Apple Way corridor management plan. So I have included it in here. He submitted that to us with some suggested changes. So I was giving this to the board, hoping that they would take a look at it, and then we can vote on whether or not we want to adopt those changes at our next meeting.
Is that this corridor management plan?
Right.
Yes. Yes, I think we had a recommendation to, double check on that. I think David has exhausted all references, and Rick Holmes is good to go with it, and Rick is the authoritative historian for,
We did try to have,
yeah.
we
Yeah.
did try to have him come in, but due to health reasons, he wasn't able to.
Yes.
To do that. So I'm not quite sure what involvement he's had with this document, any conversation that David may have had with Rick, or any of those discussions. I just know we weren't able to have him come in.
I think one of the times David was in here, he did say that he talked with Rick about it, and Rick is in agreement with what David has done, and I think was impressed with David's research.
I think everyone's impressed with David's research.
The level of detail is impeccable.
So if the board just wanted to digest this, and we can maybe have David come in November, and then finalize it then.
I was gonna say it would be great if we had a little bit of time to go over it, and having him here to kind of
Right.
walk us through it would be awesome.
And if anybody wants printed copies, just let me know, and I can print those out and leave them in the planning department too. Sometimes it's easier to have paper copies. Jim, one?
Please, ma'am.
Anybody else? Two, three?
No, I guess some of it here anyway, that I've accumulated, so.
Can I make a
What?
suggestion? I know David, and if you could put it first on the agenda, he'd appreciate it.
I'm sure we could squeeze him in.
Oh, yes, I think we can.
If the chair says we can, then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think David has all of his suggestions, and I think his suggestions are good. You know, it's a good thing he gave us those suggestions.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, it doesn't look like the document is marked up as far as which things were added or changed. So it would be really handy to have him kind of talk us through
I can
exactly
see if I
what he
can
was.
get a better sense on those changes before our meeting
Yeah.
in November. And
Yes,
I
that
can
would be
email
great.
those out as well.
Is that something you could email to us?
Yes.
Yeah, he had a chart also of, no, I guess that's with the individual houses that are on Dinsmore Corner. Actually, Dismore. I guess there's several spellings of Densmore, Dismore, and so forth. It's probably, I'm sure, probably not all the same family, but I found out the Densmores in Windham are not related to the ones in Londonderry. Even though the name is the same, so.
You would think a name that long ago in such a community that's, you know, the United States wasn't the United States then, right? Like, so they all came
Right, it
here.
was still a British colony.
Yeah,
so-
and there weren't as many people here, so you would think people living that close together with the same name, there would be a good chance that they were related.
Yeah, in those days, there was no such thing as spelling, it was all by phonetics, so whoever, you know, let's say they registered with the town clerk or something, it was however the town clerk felt like spelling the name, so that's resulted in different spellings, and, you know, I guess who really knows?
If you guys see that there's some red lines on this, I'm assuming
do see
that's
that.
where the editing was done, but it doesn't really say in all cases what
Oh,
was
yeah,
edited.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's good
Few
reference
pages
points. I'm
further
not quite
down.
sure what he took out may have put in,
Right.
so it
Some
may
of them
not-
are noted, some aren't.
Right.
That'll at least help us.
He did make references that he added stuff and,
Farm. Yeah, I didn't see him in the first few pages, but now that I'm looking further into the document, there's a few of them
yeah,
in there.
there's definitely red lines, so there,
Y-
sometimes
yes,
I think
there's-
it's clear, sometimes it may not be as clear for us to understand.
You know, if you click on them, I wonder if it opens it up, like a Word document,
Yeah, no.
a shared Word document.
It just gives a funny shape around the bar.
And it could be because I PDF'd it, and I'm not sure if
Oh,
what he gave me
yeah, you
is a
have to
Word
take it
document,
out of
so let
the,
me, I'll have to go back to my original email and
put it
see.
into edit mode.
Okay. Okay. Without any further comments or questions from commissioners, we'll move along to Kent Allen Forest Access Road update.
So that is complete.
Yep, I
Okay.
saw them out there,
So
it would have to be Monday, I think.
So if you drive by, you'll see the chains up. It's all done. Unfortunately, Dave apologizes that his pictures came to us upside down. But he worked very
Rotate it.
diligently to get this done. Just trying to see.
And I know the chain is across
It
the,
is.
the entrance from Mammoth Road on it, and they spread, 'cause what they put on is the wrap, the recycled asphalt. And they've redone a bunch of trails in the forest also, so it's almost like a paved highway.
So he has just some pictures showing some of the work being done.
Aren't we gonna put a sign on that chain?
He,
Ian, weren't you working with Dave
Oh, yeah,
Bowie
they
on the
rolled
sign?
it, huh? So it does,
What
it looks like a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
road.
I forget what it says.
But is there,
And some of the trails, I mean, it makes it easier for at least
Oh,
wheelchair
okay, that's
people
cool.
to navigate.
I just can't see
Yeah.
it, that's.
When Dave does things, he documents things well, so he
Yeah, I
always
was
has
gonna
the
say, he
photo.
gave us a lot of good pictures.
I need you to say the sign is not up, but when it is up, here's the finished product right here.
there you go.
When it's up, he will forward to me another picture of the sign that I can then in turn pass along to the commission.
What is the sign gonna say?
I think it just says emergency access only, or
Yep.
something to that effect.
So what is the lock here? Is it just like a padlock on one end of the chain?
There'll be actually, it's a Knox box, which the firefighters have access to, and I guess in it is you can unlock it. So it's something very common that fire departments use, I guess
Yep.
even police departments.
Yep. They have them on schools, there's little lock boxes and stuff that they have special keys they can open them.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Great.
he got this work done faster than he
I was
got it
gonna
through
say,
this committee.
I was gonna say, that's fast, very fast.
No. How about our tree for
We're supposed to slow
the
things down.
replacement tree for the common? This little work in progress.
Do you think that box on there, wherever it is very sturdy?
I don't know, that's kind of what I was looking at, because it's gotta be on one of these little posts, and I wouldn't imagine it's,
Yeah, I would think you'd
Very large
want
at
to put
all.
in some good solid granite posts, you know.
yeah, right.
Yeah, but typically those boxes are alarmed themselves.
Yeah.
So that you know if somebody's opened the box.
Yeah.
The fire department may
some-
have a lock that kind of interconnects with the town's
Yeah.
lock, so they can open it up. They have a master key, I would assume that's probably what it is.
And I can inquire and get that information for the commission.
Yeah, that'd be great. Suppose I
Good
could
job, Dave.
just take a stroll down on there too.
Yeah, it's like a boulevard now compared to what it was. We didn't want it to lose any of its
Mr. Butler.
rustic charm. The thing, I was going to bring up one thing, and this is with terms expiring. And I went to the 2021 Town Annual Report, looked under Heritage Commission. So it says, my term expires, John's term expires, and Kristen's term expires. So we'll need to get letters into Kirby to request reappointment.
And that's what my records say too, but I did include you in that email to the clerk's office, just to confirm with
Just
them,
to
because
double check. So.
they're the record keepers.
So it wouldn't hurt any time to send a request for reappointment to Kirby, and copy Laura also. Hopefully, everyone's going to request reappointment.
I couldn't bear to be without you, Art. How does that work, by the way? Is that another appearance to the town council, or is that pro forma?
I think for reappointment,
No,
Yes,
yeah,
you
there's,
know. Right.
No, if you've appeared before the council once, they
Yeah, you don't
They
have to
don't-
appear again.
yeah.
right.
Yeah, and so why harass the volunteers when it's hard enough to find
Yeah,
volunteers, you
no
know?
kidding.
You have to go swear in again.
you'd have to get sworn in.
Yes, you could be sworn in again.
So is that a January 1 thing? That
Yes,
before Jan?
yes.
Okay, that is everything we have on the agenda for tonight. We do have an option for public input. Notice we have a couple of members of the public here. Sure, come on up.
Ann Champa, 28 Wedgewood Drive. I just want to mention about the sign, I remember now. It's green metal, and it says either emergency access only or emergency vehicles only,
Okay.
one or the other, whichever he decides on.
Was the sign being made now, or?
I'm not sure, he just asked me about the wording and the lettering, and that was it on my part. And he was gonna add it to the chain, you know, it's gonna be,
Will hang right in the
that
middle?
you'll have the sign, metal sign, and then the chain will be attached to it.
Okay. Thank you, Ann.
Well, since,
Ray Breslin, 3 Gary Drive. Since I hear, and you're allowing public comment, I probably should say something. By the way, thank you for what you do, the time you spend on this, and I probably would have liked to say something about Penachuk presentation, but that's pretty much just a presentation for you folks. I think personally, maybe somebody should be looking at that a little further as to what their plan is. I mean, that's not something that necessarily you folks get to approve. The planning board or the town council, or even the Conservation Commission certainly should have some input in regards to that. I just want to say, and I don't want to go on here, but looking at that plan, there is basically a brook that runs down from Spring Road that feeds the duck pond that goes underneath Pillsbury. It looks like they're going along the property line, which basically is where the brook runs. Now, I'm calling it a brook. If you went out there, you probably wouldn't see it unless you go down the end where it meets Pillsbury and goes underneath Pillsbury. You see flowing water there. So pretty much it goes underground. So I would think, and it's not really for you folks necessarily, but that really kind of needs to be looked at. I mean, it's going along where that underground brook is because there's springs up on Spring Road. That's why it's called Spring Road. And so, not necessarily something for you to address, but I think others in the town should be looking at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further commentary from commissioners?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn. Mr.
Second.
Chair.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.